Welcome back to Unity Fort Worth. It is time for our morning meditation. Today is my turn and we are live. We're coming from pray-in, focusing on the healing aspects in our lives. And we just talked about how our focus, our spiritual focus and practice should be not on healing itself, but on the potential of perfect health and wholeness. And so we can actually use the same idea to enter our meditation for today. And if you are a fan of coffee or tea or a warm beverage, as I am, you're welcome to take a sip, as I do, because my mouth is getting dry. As we move into today's meditation. And also, again, we are live, so feel free to say hi or actually put in a question. Even if it's a question from pray-in, feel free to ask and to begin a conversation. I'm always happy to respond to whatever you come up with. Good morning, Jackie. I have two monitors, so that's why I'm kind of looking over there, but I actually can bring the chat box right in front of me, because I don't need to read. So, healing and meditation. And I'm just seeing that I updated my titles the wrong way, because I was just talking to the team. We should all use the same title. And now I'm doing the same mistake that I was pointing out to everyone. So hopefully that will change. Anyway, so healing and meditation. It's very common for people to start meditating when they have some form of a challenge, a physical challenge. Hi, Red. I hope I pronounce this correctly. Yes, we do this every morning from Monday through Thursday. So we do the meditation at 8:30 Central Time, so 7:30 your time. And then 8:15, 15 minutes before that, I'll do the pray-in. So I usually do the pray-in from Monday through Thursday. And then, good morning, Terry. And then at 8:30, we have like a team of meditators in our community that show you a whole bunch of different meditations. Rebecca is on Mondays. I am on Tuesdays. Tomorrow is Joe with pranayama practices. And then we have Denise. That's our team currently. So yes, every day here at Unity Fort Worth. How wonderful is that we can use technology this way? So going back to healing, many start meditating because they have some form of a healing request, a healing desire or need. Most of my students over the past 20, 25 years have really started meditating when it was about those who were about health and wholeness, about something going on physically with them in their lives or even mentally. It was about lowering blood pressure. They would have high blood pressure. They would have stress, a lot of stress in their lives. Some started meditating because they had cancer or some other more serious illness. And so healing was a big part of that. Now, in silence meditation, which is the practice that I teach, we approach health and wholeness very similarly to unity. We use the Yoga Sutras to understand it through the principles of Yoga Sutras and some of the Ashtanga Yoga, the 8 limbs of yoga. But essentially, it's the same core of wisdom that's being utilized here. So, as I mentioned in the pray-in just before, is we have to start learning to see the healing process through the affirmation of perfect health and wholeness. And in meditation, that's exactly where we're getting at. So if you remember some of my explanations how silence meditation works, is we're starting at the surface of the mind, and then we're using a word or a phrase that resonates with the highest way of being, with our divine self, with God, so to speak. And we use that to allow us to turn within. So in silence meditation, and most meditations, it's an inward journey, inward and downward. No, not up and outward. It's always inward and downward. And so the idea is that we find God, or we find the silence somehow inside of us, right? Which is kind of ridiculous because God is everywhere, but there is some wisdom to it. And I talked about this before, and sure I will again. There's wisdom to turning within, because we need to break away from the busyness of our lives. That's really one of the goals we have in meditation anyway. Thank you, Red. Yeah, that's wonderful to hear. So feel free to join us at any time. It's always great to share across the ether, so to speak. So where was I? So again, we're having an inward journey towards silence, toward God, right? And we synonymously use the word silence with God, or with whatever word you use instead of God. The idea is that you understand what that is: an infinite potential and possibility. And so perfect health and wholeness belongs into that infinite potential and possibility. So as we meditate on healing, we actually don't meditate on healing. We meditate on that infinite potential, which is health and wholeness. So if you wanted to put an intention in at the beginning of your meditation, then that should be not on the healing process, but on the potential of perfect health and wholeness. I hope that makes sense. And so today, for example, when we choose a word around healing, I will probably stay away from something like I am healed or healing, because both would still have some sort of a connection to a limitation, to the process of limitation that we do. We always put limitations on the infinite potential that we have access to. Instead, we could say, I am whole. I am health. I am health itself. I'm not healing. I'm not healed. I'm not a limitation of that, but I am health itself. I am perfect health. That could even be a good phrase to use if we wanted to use a phrase today. So that's all I have to say, because I'm already running a little over time in my supposed to be kind of like 5-minute introduction. So bear with me. We're starting our clock on 10 minutes. And as always, you're welcome to close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, and simply start settling in. And as you know, you're not required to use silence meditation at all. You can use your own practice, whatever works for you. You can put some music on, some background noise, or be in complete silence. That is up to you. You may also just lower your gaze or keep your eyes open if you would like to practice open eye meditation. However, I do recommend the closing of the eyes, because it's an important part of our meditation practice. Not the only part, but an important one. Just breathe into this moment. And if you follow the silence meditation practice, then you simply use the phrase we just came up with. I am perfect health. Or if you would like, I am perfect health and wholeness, an affirmation. And you introduce that phrase into your thoughts and feelings very gently, kindly, without pushing anything away, letting everything be. And let it go, and let whatever happens happen. Allow that phrase to travel where it needs to find its way back to perfection, to make the connection to the divine, and allow that to unfold more and more in your life. And whenever you're ready, you're back on the surface of the mind. You started to think about anything but your meditation. You think about your breakfast or lunch, and your bills to pay, the worries you had about the conversation that you had that wasn't as fun as you wanted it to be. All that needs to be surrendered right now. And you reintroduce the thought, the phrase, I am perfect health and wholeness. Remember, this is a cycle that every one of us is on a different clock, right? That's why we do not connect silence meditation to a breathing or a heartbeat or a specific rhythm that is outside of us. We find what I call our spiritual rhythm. Again, we introduce our phrase, I am perfect health and wholeness, very gently and kindly into our thought stream, our feelings, without pushing anything away. And then let it go and let whatever happens happen. if you can hear it in the microphone, I'm not sure, but I have noises around me, airplanes. I hear my wife, Elaine, at the meeting at her workplace from home. And those are all just opportunities for us to recognize, oh, we are back on the surface of the mind. And it's time for us to come back to the practice. I am perfect health and wholeness. Also, if you want, just a little added advanced practice before we close. As you introduce the thought, the phrase, I am perfect health and wholeness, you can add an image as you think it and feel it. You can also imagine it, what it would look like for you to be in perfect health and wholeness. And you can bring just for a moment all your senses to it. How would it feel like? How would your body feel? How would it look like? How would life smell like? How would everything taste like if you were in that space of perfect health and wholeness? We're not holding on to any of that. We simply think it and see it and taste it and smell it and feel it just for a moment. And then we let it go and let whatever happens happen. It's that letting go, that surrender, that's important. It's important for those images, those thoughts, those pure ideas to find its way back to the divine. And whenever you're ready, feel free to center yourself once again, bring yourself back into this moment. If you are already not here, I mean, you're actually supposed to be in this moment, right? As we meditate. And this has been it. 10 minutes goes by so fast when you're having fun, right? So I'm going to just make sure that you are informed about some couple of things. So first of all, I want to encourage you to go to our calendar. I'm putting the link in right now. Because when you go on your calendar, let's see if I can even share that real quick on screen. When you click on that link, or when you're off your device and you're able to do so, then what you see is something like this. It's a Google Calendar. Down here at the plus sign, you can subscribe to it, and then you can actually see what's happening all month long. What I want to point out is our spiritual talkback for tomorrow. Our spiritual talkback series, we actually continue what we started with Reverend Ariana Plutton and Unity Center in the Rockies. We continue that on Wednesdays, not on Tuesdays, but on Wednesdays. And that gives you an opportunity to talk a little bit more deeply about the Sunday service. So, and then, of course, we have everything else. You also see we have our pray-ins, our morning meditations. So that's a good calendar to subscribe to. And then the other thing I recommend you doing is, or considering, let's say it this way, not doing, but considering, is to actually support Unity Fort Worth, and especially our morning pray-ins and meditation. You can click this link here, Give to Meditation, unityfortworth.org, Give to Meditation. And then what will happen is it will show up. Oh, actually, it will not. It just worked before. Give to Meditation. And now it doesn't work anymore. Okay. Very good. Let's see what I made the mistake. Give to Meditation. And there we go. So that will bring you to a possibility just to give or tithe or whatever you want to do. And that's the way to contribute in a meaningful way to what we are doing here at Unity Fort Worth. I promise I don't do this every week, but once in a while, it doesn't hurt to ask. And hopefully what we're doing every day here throughout the week, and then especially on Sundays, is helpful and useful to you. And those are the ways I will connect through the calendar. And of course, you can always call the office with questions as you see fit. Have a wonderful day. And I will see you tomorrow for praying. And then we have Joe with his pranayama teachings at 8:30.